this is John Colo with growingyourgreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. We're going to give you guys my 11th month update on my property here in Puerto Rico. I've been doing so much, including about a week of string trimming to get this property back in shape because I had been gone about 5 months. This is the last day. That last night I fly out in a few hours and we have 15 minutes of sun and I have a lot of plants to plant, but I wanted to show you guys a real quick update. So basically here we're not really doing much. I cleared the area that I had previously cleared and everything was overgrown. A lot of plants didn't make it. I don't have time to show you guys, but basically I thought sweet potato vine would take it all over and the sweet potato vine could not outcompete the weeds. The Bailey and the chaya actually did good. The turmeric was alive that I had to like uncover because the weeds were blocking it. My miracle berry was just covered because it's a slow grower. The Moringa did amazing and some of my other larger fruit trees did amazing as well. Let's see, we met the architect, got the finalized blueprint plans going, so we're gonna get permits and start building soon. And then I wanna show you guys the plants I got this trip to plant. We got basically a large leaf Bailey. I got a small ice cream bean, a large ice cream bean here. Let's see, I got an elderberry, I got a macadamia nut. This one got heat damage, but this is my favorite, like floral scent. It's Lang Lang. Let's see. Got some cranberry hibiscus, pitamba fruit, a curry plant, a bunch of turmeric to plant. Another moringa to plant. I think that's pretty much it for this main property. But this time I'm going to show you guys basically two other locations on my property because this property is 3 acres and I've only generally showed you this property. I got 2 other sections because this property is huge. So we're going to go ahead and take you to where I planted coconut palms, which is probably the major thing. I bought about 40 coconut palms that we're planting that are dwarf this year. So let's take you over to the other section. All right, so now I want to give you guys an update on part of the property that you guys never saw in my videos because you guys basically have been seeing in the last 2 updates. Links down below from my original and the second one. Actually just my first property, which is a half-acre home site that I'm developing primarily. But then in addition to that space, I have about another 2.5 acre property that's kind of connected down in the valley. And then this is actually the other top. I have a different entrance over here. And this is a whole nother property. So this is basically, we're looking at like the top of the property on this side, and then it goes kind of down, and then it kind of goes up the other side. We'll show you this side and later on in this video, and then the home side is kind of off to this side. Anyways, this side of the property, basically it has a nice slope to it. So it goes straight down to like the stream river at the bottom. And so I have a nice big lot of acreage on a hill that I'll need to develop slowly over time. That being said, the accessible part of this property is a nice road that you guys maybe could see right down to this side, all the way down. So when I originally bought this property and walked it, this road was maintained. I've owned it for about a year now. And basically didn't have time to get over here. So this trip, basically we string trimmed all the way down to the bottom, as well as did a lot of cutting of smaller trees off to the sides to basically, bring back the road again. And so the goal is to, this property is 3 acres. I'm just me that I come on trips, every now and then. I can't maintain everything. So the whole goal is to just maintain specific areas of the property, including around the house that I've been focusing on, as well as now this road that goes down. And once you go to the bottom of this road, there's a nice open space, maybe a home site space where I could build something. It's really private and secluded, literally kind of like down in the forest. You can hear the river or the stream down below. And then once you get to that little pad, then it goes down even further. That's basically kind of going off-road down a little trail to the bottom stream or river at the bottom of property. Anyways, to get this planted out, besides just clearing it, because clearing it is the first step, second step is planting it. So I'm planting something very important that can take maybe 3 years or longer to start producing food for me to eat. And what that is are coconuts. So luckily my friend Kailash knows the best place to get coconut sprouts, which you could eat. In this case, I'm not eating them. They're more valuable to plant into baby little plants because these are not just any old coconut. If you just find a coconut on the beach, you plant it, it's probably going to grow into a huge coconut. All the coconuts that I'm buying are specific dwarf varieties that, you know, can start producing fruit even when they're like this tall. Like the trunk is this tall and literally the fruit it produces are hanging off in racks that are still touching the ground. So these are genetic dwarfs. I also have I have a few of the Philippine dwarfs that are like orange. I'll be planting back at the home site. But basically I got 40 coconut sprouts this trip that basically line each side of the road. Now what we're doing is we're planting one coconut on one side of the road, then we're going 20 feet down and then planting another coconut. Now why 20 feet? That's because while these fronds look young now, fully grown, a frond from one side of the plant will reach out 10 feet. And then if the other plant that's 20 feet away reaches out 10 feet, then these fronds will be touching both sides. That way we'll have to do less maintenance because they'll barely be touching. And then they're gonna just make a nice overstory over the road with a fully shaded palm fronds to keep the road cool, to maybe grow things as an understory underneath there. And of course, over time, a coconut palm could produce over 150 coconuts per year to drink. So this is the excellent source of water full of electrolytes that I'll be growing on my property, and in just a few years I'm going to have abundant coconuts to drink myself, to sell, or to process. You know, the coconut meat can be made into coconut milk. You could allow the sprouts to grow to make it into what's called Queen's candy in Hawaii. The coconut palm is definitely one of my favorite palms to grow. So yeah, down this road, we've been planting them all the way down. I bought 40. I think this road is probably going to get about 30 of them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take you guys down the road and show you guys actually how we planted them. And then we planted most of them out, and I got maybe 10 more to plant at the bottom. So I'm going to show you guys the process of planting a coconut. It's super simple, super easy. Then we're going to go to the other side of the property where I have some jackfruit trees started in the forest. So probably we're going to go ahead and take you guys on a hand count shot, show you guys what it looks like down my road. All right, so at the top of the road, you guys can see we put in a coconut. That's to kind of denote the coconut. We put a white PVC stake. Now, yes, I know I don't like white PVC stakes either. Polyvinyl chloride, toxic for the environment. But the fact of the matter is, here in the tropics, things grow very fast, and if I didn't put a PVC stake and then I wasn't here to string trim, things would overtake the coconut, and then when I'm string trimming, I might forget where the coconut is, or if I hire somebody to string trim, they could clearly see, hey, there's a white PVC stake, and when there's a white PVC stake, that means there's an important plant next door. And so don't string trim my plants. So then this is kind of like overlooking the valley down below. I mean, it's just all greenery. You can see the drop off. We're getting some erosion here that I'll need to deal with in a future trip. But I mean, this is just, I mean, my property is just all nature. If you go to the other side, basically it's a valley, and then the other side there's like a road over there. But I mean, this is just all greenery, and pretty much this has been all like just overgrown. Nothing has been farmed or on this property. It's basically just pretty much raw land. Untouched, so that's really nice. Of course, I do have some existing bananas that were planted for the previous owner. There's some up there. Here's some banana plants here, and actually this is where we planted the first coconut. You know, these coconuts are babies, so you know, we're planting these in all kinds of spaces. You know, Kailash has already did this to one of his roads going down to his stream river on the other side. And, you know, he found that some of the ones that were planted in shade are actually performing better than the ones that are in full sun. So I'm just doing the same. You know, this is an experiment. Maybe this one will grow really good in between the bananas. Maybe some of you guys will comment and say, that's terrible, John. It's too close. But, you know, these bananas are short-lived plants. So they're not even trees. They're going to just make a rack of bananas and fall down. Maybe the kikis or the babies will pop up down below. Maybe they won't. And maybe this coconut will be dominant one day. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, in time, the coconut will win over the bananas. Anyways, you can see we've just basically cleared this road. Somebody dumped a washing machine on it. But on the edges of the road, we basically planted a coconut, and then we got a PVC pipe to denote where they are planted. Basically, to plant a coconut, you just bury it about 2/3 of the way down, approximately, and leave 2/3 underneath and 1/3 above. And so all this was way overgrown, so we basically had to clear it all. Here's an existing papaya that is currently in its flowering stage, and all this was just all shrub. We had to just totally cut it back. I've left a couple existing palms on the property, because we'll let them grow bigger and then maybe harvest them for heart of palm. And as you guys can see, yet another coconut. And you know, I try to like carefully plan where the coconuts are. This is like going up to my neighbor's property, and basically when it rains, the water falls and then it kind of goes down this slope, so the water will, you know, kind of collect here on the side. So I wanted to try to plant them at the base of the slope so that when the water does run down this hill, all the coconuts will get water. We of course planted them on the other side to hopefully also prevent erosion once we get roots in the ground, and we have to deal with some erosion on this side because it's just basically a slope all the way down. We planted them kind of facing out instead of facing up. This way they're kind of going to grow over the side and maybe make harvesting some coconuts even easier when, you know, down below, because that's pretty steep grade. We basically, you know, make terraces all the way down because it's actually quite steep and definitely does need to be worked or it will continue to erode. So that's definitely a future trip. But you can see basically all this was overgrown. We string trimmed it, hand pulling, hand cutting down things. You can see here's another coconut here, you know, just a little bit of overstory. If we like look above, you know, we got the nice big overstory, kind of protected as it's young. And yes, it may not grow as quickly, but you know, hey, I just want to keep these babies alive. And the thing is, hey, I won't be here for another few months to see how they're doing, and they're going to have to live and survive off the rain. Once again, another one off to the side. Once again, every 20 feet, and they're offset. So this one's 20 foot from the last PVC pipe up there. And then if we go across, we didn't plant them kitty corner across. We planted them, you know, 10 feet offset. These ones are all 20 feet there, up this side, 20 feet there. But then it's halfway in between the one over there. And then this property goes all the way down. One of the goals for this property that we're kind of already doing is, you know, water will go where it needs to go, and water generally right now is coming down. If it rains heavy, we'll kind of go into a gutter on this side, and that's why we planted coconuts right on this side, so that off to the gutter, so the gutter won't wash away our coconuts, but we could make little pools of water. And then we basically, there's been some existing trenches in to go across the path. You can see a little ditch here that'll then bring a little bit of the water going down, which is going to erode that side of the hill. But then we're going to cut off a little bit of water to go this direction, which is going to then run into this coconut and then go down the hill. So we want to have a lot more of these water breaks to prevent major erosion on the side, you know, that I have the slope on, and not the side that goes like straight down to the bottom of the river. That's why this property for most would be an undesirable property because of the heavy slope. I mean, you definitely can't build there, but if terraced properly and worked properly and planted properly, you know, you could definitely, you know, hold the soil back and grow lots of food on slopes. So I am looking forward to that challenge. All right, so as we go down lower to the property, this is almost to the end. This is kind of where the road opens up into like a bigger space that could be buildable at one point. And I'm glad to see that I have a guava tree. You guys can see there's a guava fruit. See, these are just wild guavas existing on the property. I haven't had one off this tree yet. Maybe next trip. But yeah, happy to have a guava existing. This is where it really opens up really nice. At the bottom, we had to clear all this. All this was way overgrown. And we're going to plant more coconuts down here. We kind of have them measured out. There's one I got to plant over in there, so I got to clear that space and then plant the coconut. And then if we go all the way down to the bottom here, this is where it ends, and now there's like a trail that goes down here. And if you guys listen carefully, and if I point the camera down there, there's some huge bananas that you guys might be able to see down there. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the running water of the stream. And if you look carefully over the stream, there's just tons of mangoes on the property, like just the overstory of the stream, which is right below it. So, and then I planted my durian, if it's still alive, somewhere down there. So I'll have to hike down there to see if the durian's still living, because I knew it would like it kind of a little bit more moist than the dry area where I am right now. But yeah, literally we are in the middle of a forest here. It's really nice. All right, guys, I'm tired, honestly. Probably just got done planting like a dozen coconuts, and it wouldn't be a big deal if I just had to actually just dig a hole and plant the coconut. But the issue is this jungle is pretty thick, so you can see I'm planting the coconut like right over here. So this whole area, like a 10 by 10 area that's just overgrown with shrub trees and all kinds of stuff, just had to get cleared. Because if I just kind of plant the coconut, everything else is growing around it, the coconut's not going to get any sun. We are going into dry season here, and so that's why I'm really selecting the locations very carefully. So you could see right up there is like my neighbor's property. Maybe you guys can't see that, but then it slopes down. Right as it slopes down, it levels off a little bit and then goes down a bit more. So actually I'm planting kind of like right at the slope as it comes down. Like the water channel is kind of like right where I'm sitting, so I'm going to plant it up here kind of at the base of the slope, so if like a big water channel runs by it, it's not going to wash the coconut away. It's a little bit upstream, but the good news is the coconut roots are like heat-seeking missiles. The heat-seeking missiles will basically say, hey, where's the water? And I'll see the stream, that it's always wet down right over here. So the coconut planted here, the roots will all grow into this little area here, once again holding soil in place, and also it's going to get plenty of water. To plant coconuts, you know, it's not rocket science. You basically want to only bury it about 2/3 deep. So to do that, I'm not even using a shovel today. I'm just using a pick, and I'm literally just on the ground. So like I just basically pick, get a little hole going, right? Coconuts are not big. Always find it's better to plant coconuts when they're small and the roots aren't super coming out. That way you're not going to damage that many roots. All right, so we got a little hole dug with the pick here. Now I'm going to show you guys my soil type. Soil type here, I mean, this is like clay, guys. Clay's a good and a bad thing, right? If you think coconuts, where do coconuts grow? Coconuts like to grow on the beach, where it's like sandy. But even on the sandy beach, the issue is it gets water like all the time because the ocean's always coming to the shore and there's going to be constant water. Sand drains really fast, which is great for the ocean when it's always wet. Here we have wet season and dry season. While coconuts are not optimal to grow in soil like mine, like a clay, they can do well for a number of years, depending. That being said, because the clay holds more water than sand, because we are growing in dry season and because this is kind of in a shaded spot, it's going to be good for the coconuts to just get established over the dry season. Optimally, you'd want to plant coconuts before the wet season, but I'm here now, and this is when they're getting planted, so we're going to see what happens. So you want to try not to damage the roots as you're putting them in. If the root's coming out pretty deep, then I'll even dig a deeper hole so that the root could run down more deep than go wide. All right, once I got the hole pretty deep, I'll get the root all the way down in there, and basically I'll put the coconut about 2/3 above grade. And the most important part is we're going to go ahead and now backfill the hole, especially down below where the roots went in. To do this, I try to find the clay that's like the small pieces and get in there, because if you put big chunks, it's not going to form fit. So I try to get the small pieces down in the bottom to fill up all the gaps, because this is really the water holding capacity of the soil is in the clay, and then of course all the chop and drop organic matter that I'm adding on top. All right, things are starting to rain. That's a good thing, not good for the camera. We got the coconut planted, we got to turn the camera off, it's raining. All right guys, so I got a very special treat for you. We're here on the other side of my property. My property is once again like 3 acres total. This is like the fence wall or the border wall of the property line next to Kailash actually. And there's basically a hurricane style fence with barbed wire, unfortunately, up here. And guess what? Here in the tropics, that makes a great trellis for wild vines. And we have a few wild vines, two of which actually are beneficial, right? One vine that grows on this hurricane fence is this leaf right here, if you guys can see it. This is like a wild bitter melon. It makes these little yellow orange fruits actually. The leaves are edible. They're actually quite bitter. I wouldn't probably eat a ton of them because they're pretty strong, but they're definitely good for you. Now also on this fence, this got defoliated by by Kailash's son the other day. But on this fence also, these are the wild cucumbers that I learned about from Stephanie at the Caribbean Permaculture Institute. Link down below to my video that I made originally at her place. So thank you, Stephanie, because I did not know this. And the leaves, let's see if I can see some leaves. The leaves look like this because actually they're related to the cucumber. So let's see, this got defoliated a lot so you can kind of see the fruits. Let me see if I can pull one out. We'll do a close-up for you guys. So these guys are tiny, guys. These are like little wild cucumbers. If you live in like Florida and you guys grow the Everglades tomatoes, right? That's like a kind of wildish tomato that really grows well in the tropics of Florida. Probably do well here in Puerto Rico. This is a tropical cucumber because normal large cucumbers you get all kinds of bugs and disease. Other kind of smaller cucumbers like West Indian bird gherkins and the little Mexican little sour cucumbers that look like miniature watermelons, they could do good here as well, but the large ones, due to the excessive heat, not optimal, but these guys literally just grow wild. So you gotta look pretty hard, but if you look, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's one right here, so we'll pluck it off. This is the little wild cucumber. They look like a little pill, guys. So cool. Now check it out. We'll bite into it like lengthwise. They have a nice crunch. They honestly taste like a cucumber, but actually more flavorful than a standard cucumber. And this is what they look like on the inside. You guys can see that. There's basically just all little seeds, and you have the flesh of like an inside a cucumber. And they're loaded. There's like one here. Oh, there's one here. You just got to start looking, right? These would be perfect for salads. So here's the thing. Check it out, guys. When they get riper, they turn darker. So if you want to save these for seeds, they basically kind of like turn this darker green on that side, and then they turn black. So they're like, oh, those even edible? And then they're soft at this point, they're smushy. So now if you eat this one, it's kind of like a slightly like pickled cucumber, but sweet, because it's really soft. It's kind of cool. Let me see if I can find a black one for you guys here. I saw one earlier. Oh, here we go. Check it out, guys. These look ominous. But this is fully ripe right here. They look like little, I don't know, jelly beans, I would say. Fully ripe. It's like basically black. Try this one. Wow. Super sweet. This would be when you want to save the seeds because the seeds are fully mature. So if you see the black one, just basically bust it open, throw it on the ground. And of course, more of this literally wild vine will grow. So it's amazing. All the existing foods I'm already finding growing on my tropical 3-acre property here, including the wild cucumbers that are just, I mean, they're all over this whole hurricane fence, guys. Who would have knew? Thank you, Stephanie. As well as the bitter melon. Anyways, let's go on the other side of the fence and show you guys what I got growing on over there. All right, guys, just went through the fence. And you guys can see this is what we got on this side. I mean, this is basically all pretty much untouched, like forest style. I made a little bench here because we did a live the other day from my property. So we started making a little path through here. But I mean, this is just basically like wild jungle. It's just so relaxing, so calming. You could be in any jungle, but this is a tropical jungle, so I got to start identifying all the different trees here. We're going to selectively prune out the smaller ones, put in things like banana and cacao and other understory fruit trees. We're going to keep all the existing old growth up there, to shade things out, and then as things get bigger, selectively take down these big ones. That's really the way to preserve the land and not just clear cut everything, right? We want to have the roots in the ground. Of course, everything here, all the leaves drop. It's mulched. I cut down trees. I leave the trees on the ground in place to rot. And the trees, those two trees there are feeding a jackfruit tree that literally was planted from seed. And then here's another area that I was working on. Basically cut down a bunch of trees, just left a pile of the debris there to rot, to make compost in place and feed the soil. and mostly opened up this area so that this tree, which is yet another jackfruit tree, from seed can thrive. Now that this tree is getting bigger, I want to definitely open up the canopy so you guys can see, you know, there's a lot more space. You know, I probably cleared at least 6 to 10 feet around the jackfruit tree so it can grow amazing. All right, it started to rain, so we're gonna go ahead and head inside for a bit. All right, another update I want to give you guys that we expanded the nursery by 2. So formerly we had 2 pallets up on concrete blocks, and we set up irrigation to come on automatically, so it's like a 4-foot spray on the pallets. And then this trip I also basically filled up 2 pallets of cuttings, mostly longevity spinach, a lot of bailey, katuk, some basil, and other things. And then now we have 4 pallets, and we put in the watering system for all 4, so now we can water and keep a lot more plants that are going to go into the properties. All right, so that's it for this update from my property in Puerto Rico, and I was glad when I came to my property and found that I have 2 nice pigeon peas growing that I didn't plant. So I basically put a white pipe so they won't get weed whacked, and I'll soon have my own pigeon peas. A pigeon pea is amazing because you can use it as chop and drop. It makes edible food you could eat. Of course, you could also use the beans to plant more pigeon pea, which actually fix nitrogen. If you guys enjoy this episode and want future updates, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that are looking for tropical plants and what to grow on literally the tropics, where you could leave and come back and the plants are alive, because everything that I'm showing you guys is all on natural rain irrigation. I have no irrigation set up here, so it's kind of fun to see what is surviving and what isn't. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you miss my new and upcoming episodes that are coming in 5 to 7 days. You never know where you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bell so you're notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check out past episodes. But past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 17 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to you guys all about how to grow your own food at home. So with that, my name is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on growing.